has obtained 3 gold medals in MA Philosophy. He has qualified NET, PhD and PG, Diploma in Yoga and Meditation. He is the managing editor of Darshanam, the bilingual Hindi-Sanskrit journal of Indian Council of Philosophical Research, joint managing editor of JICPR, Journal of Indian Council of Philosophical Research, review editor of Yoga Mimamsa, a quarterly journal devoted to scientific and philosophical literature in yoga and allied disciplines, and editor of 4 edited books. For a long period of 11 years, from 2009 to 2020, Professor Dubey was the program officer of ICPR for promotion of research in the field of philosophy and allied areas. To his credit, Professor Dubey has written 13 books and 42 research articles. Besides all these academic excellencies, Professor Dubey has been assigned with many prestigious posts and responsibilities under the program of ICPR New Delhi and the Administrative Committee of the University. Professor Dubey is a prolific writer, an eminent orator, and a very good teacher of philosophy. He is a man of yoga. He loves yoga in his thought, speech, and action. He is a very humble and gentle. I welcome Professor Susin Dubey sir to this august occasion. Welcome you, sir. We have with us Dr. Kavita Bhatt as the resource person of the second session. Dr. Kavita Bhatt is a prolific writer, an eminent orator, and a very sincere yoga practitioner. She is an eminent scholar of philosophy with specialization of Yoga Darshan. She is working as a research associate at FDC HNB Gurwal Central University, Srinagar, Uttarakhand. She has been nominated as the advisor of Program Advisory Committee by the NCSTC under the University of Science and Technology, Government of India. Dr. Kavita Bhatt was initially a science student, but she has obtained her master degree in 4 subjects of arts, namely philosophy, yoga, English, and social work. She has qualified NET in 2 subjects, philosophy and yoga. She has been awarded Junior Research Fellowship, General Research Fellowship by ICPR New Delhi, and Postdoctoral Fellowship by UGC New Delhi. Dr. Kavita Bhatt has great contribution in the field of both literature and philosophy. She has authored 18 academic and literary books, and she is well known as Shailaputri in the field of literature. She has published hundreds of pieces, including research papers, popular articles, Hindi poetries, reviews, and interviews. Her creative writings have been translated in Sanskrit, English, Bengali, Gujarati, Haryanavi, and Garhwali, etc. Dr. Bhatt has also been invited for lectures, thematic talks, panel discussions, and poetry recital by various ministries of Government of India, Sahitya Academies, Doordarshan, All India Radio, as well as the international platforms of various universities and international organizations. Dr. Bhatt is a versatile academic scholar and personality who has devoted her life in the interest of both literature and philosophy, and for her contribution and dedication, she has received so many awards from both international and national platforms. I welcome Dr. Kavita Bhatt Madam to this August occasion. Welcome you, Madam. We have with us the head of the Department of Philosophy, Nayagarh Autonomous College, Nayagarh, and the coordinator of this webinar program, Sri Pramod Kumar Das. Sri Das is a seminarist. He has organized more than 300 seminars and webinars, and he himself has delivered more than 100 talks in different platforms. As the head of the department, Sri Das is very cooperative, and as the teacher, he is very humble and sincere.
And Vidya in the life of human being. And especially the definition of yoga, yogas chitta vritti nirodha, has four terms: yog, chit, and nirodha. And the another definition of yoga is yoga karmashu kaushalam. This is the definition of Bhagavad Gita. And what is the result of yoga? The result of yoga is tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. यानी कि योग की प्रैक्टिस के बाद जो द्रष्टु है, जो व्यक्ति है, जो साधक है, वह अपने स्वरूप में अवस्थित हो जाता है. व्हाट इज दिस अपने स्वरूप? ये अपना स्वरूप क्या है, इस पर भी हम बात करेंगे. So the outlines of my lecture are to analyze the importance and interconnectivity of well-being and happiness, the reflections of happiness and well-being in human behavior, and what are the obstructions in the way of happiness and well-being. And then we will move toward the philosophical notion of happiness and well-being. And after that, we will discuss here the scientific concept of unhappiness and happiness. And then we elaborate the role of yoga for happiness and well-being. And after that, we will understand the concept of dukkha as obstruction in this way. And the concept of personality is must to understand according to Yoga Darshan, Sankhya, and Upanishads. So, the balanced personality will lead towards happiness and well-being. This is the essence of this topic, and we will discuss the ways to obtain the balanced personality according Yoga Darshan. The role of Chitta Prasadan for happiness and well-being is also here for you. So friends, first of all, we should know the importance of well-being and happiness in our life. It is resulted personally in physical health, psychological health, spiritual well-being, and academically we can do, we can focus, we can get a progress, we can get a success in our own career, and academic performance will be good, and we can guide others too after getting the results by yoga. Socially, for the nation, we can devote ourselves with our knowledge, our dedication, and for the human being and humanity and welfare, and ultimately we can extend our life to Lok Sangrah. Lok Sangrah means for the social well-being. So friends, this is the question that is happiness and well-being are interconnected? क्या प्रसन्नता और कल्याण एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं? इसको हम इस प्रकार से चर्चा कर सकते हैं कि the happiness and well-being are interconnected and holistic health is an essential need for it. There are three aspects of holistic health, physical, mental, and spiritual. And the physical health is prior for both of them. You know it. A person is an unit of society, and the happiness and health of a person will lead toward the path of well-being. as an ultimate aim of life, as Professor Sushim Dubey said, that this is the ultimate aim of life. And when we got happiness and well-being on personal and social levels, then it would be meaningful to discuss and opt the way for both of these. So here, this is the question again, that what are the reflections of happiness and well-being in human behavior? Positive thoughts, regular thought process, or disciplined thought process, optimism and optimistic approach, clarity, creativity, wider perspective and connectivity, and also vision and mission. These are the reflections of a happy life and well-being. So here the question is again that what are the causes for dukha as the obstructions in the way of well-being and happiness? You know, friends, there are so many external causes of unhappy and unhealthy and unwell life. Those are social surroundings, environmental pollutions, socio-cultural framework. These are the external causes of unhappiness and unhealth. And the second one is personal cause. Personal causes are the ratio of three doshas, the ratio of three gunas and ahankaras, and the incapability of indriyas, senses, and the impurification of body, mind, and soul are the personal causes of unhappy life or unhappiness. Genetic causes are also there. And after discussing these causes, this is the natural curiosity to know the darshanik causes, philosophical causes of, or philosophical notion of unhappiness and non-well-being. So here the concept of dukkha is must to understand. And you know, friends, there is some difference between the philosophy of Sankhya and Yoga in this reference of dukkhas. You know that Sankhya Darshana told that there are three kinds of dukkha: adhyatmik, adi bhautik, and adi devik. But the Yoga Darshana or philosophy of Yoga is telling something more. Mahasi Patanjali elaborated three kinds of dukkhas. First one is parinam dukh. What we got suffered with, that is the result of past sukha. And the second one is tap dukkha, which is related to present having three kinds. Those are adhyatmik, adi bhautik, and adi devik. Naturally, adhyatmik dukkhas are there are two kinds of adhyatmik dukkhas. First one is manas, which is resulted due to imbalance of trigunas, and the second one is sharir dukh, due to imbalance of tridoshas. And of course, adi bhautik dukh is resulted by other creatures. This is the dukh which is resulted by the interference of other creatures or behavior of other creatures. And the third one is adhidevik dukh. This is resulted from natural disasters, earthquakes, and floods, etc. And here, after the parinam dukh and tap dukh, there is the third one, sanskar dukh. It has resulted as the impressions of sukh and dukh in future. So I think this is very clear to you. And now the question is that what is the root cause of these dukkhas? Mahasi Patanjali assumed that trigunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas as an evolution of prakriti have a guna vritti virodha ever, and it leads toward every kind of dukh. This is the point. And of course, These trigunas are the necessary component of personality, but these have an opposing nature with basic cooperation, like oil, bati, and deepak for the light or lamp. The gunavritti virodhi is the reflection of avidya. And avidya is the root cause of dukh. And avidya is the first klesha, and it is the prasava bhumi of all kleshas. Prasava bhumi means mother of all kleshas. So now the question is that what are chitta vrittis? चित्त वृत्ति क्या है? चित्त वृत्तियों के प्रकार क्या हैं और चित्त वृत्ति जो है वो दुखों की तरफ हमें कैसे धकेलती हैं? There are two types of chitta vrittis. The first one is klishta vrittis, which is kleshas, and the second one is aklishta vrittis, or aklishta vrittis are there. First of all, I want to elaborate klishta vrittis as kleshas. Those are 5. The first one is avidya as the root cause of all kleshas. To this avidya is a cause to deal the anitya as nitya, ashuchi as shuchi, and dukha as sukha, and anatma as atma, and pap as punya. This is the prasava bhumi of all kind of suffering, or all kind of sorrows, or all kind of dukha. So the second one is asmita. Asmita, to deal the body, which is the evolution of prakriti as I, or the sense of I am in the sharer. The third one is rag. Rag. There is a sutra in Patanjali Yoga Sutra that is Sukhanushayi Raga. Sukhanushayi Raga. It means that the attitude of attachment with Sukha and follow the means of it, it is Rag. And the fourth one is Dvesha. There is a sutra for it too, that is Dukhanushayi Dvesha. Dukhanushayi Dvesha. It means the attitude, it means the attitude to hate the dukkha and to leave the means of it, that is dvesha. And the fifth one is, that is more prominent, and in COVID, in the reference of COVID-19, it was very dangerous and it was very prominent to everybody, and we think every time that we will die. This is the fear of death. मृत्यु है. हमें हर समय लगता है कि अभी तो हम जीवित हैं, लेकिन क्या पता कब हमारी मृत्यु हो जाए. So this is called abhinivesh. These are the क्लिष्ट वृत्तिस और क्लेशास. क्लेश जो है जीवन में, वे ही हमें दुखों के, हमारे जितने भी दुख हैं उनके लिए ये क्लिष्ट वृत्तियां जो हैं वे उत्तरदायी हैं. अब प्रश्न उठता है कि इन क्लिष्ट वृत्तियों को हम कैसे समाप्त करें, इनका प्रभाव हम चित्त पर कैसे ना पड़ने दें, उसके लिए सहयोगी क्या है? द आंसर इज अक्लिष्ट वृत्तिस आर देयर टू माइल्ड द impact of these क्लिष्ट वृत्तिस, and these अक्लिष्ट वृत्तिस are praman, viparya, vikalp, nidra and smriti. Praman is यथार्थ ज्ञान, means जो जैसा है उसको ठीक वैसा ही समझना, उसको हम कहते हैं यथार्थ ज्ञान. उसको हम कहते हैं प्रमाण के माध्यम से उसको हम जानते हैं. सेकंड वन इज विपर्यय, अयथार्थ ज्ञान, यानी कि जो जैसा नहीं है उसको हम वैसा समझते हैं. दिस इज विपर्यय. हम अपनी इंद्रियों की जो हमारी सीमाएं हैं उसके कारण बहुत से ऐसे प्रत्यय हैं जिनको हम ठीक से जान नहीं पाते हैं. सो इट विल लीड टुवर्ड विपर्यय. द थर्ड वन इज विकल्प. दिस इज इमेजिनेशन. हम कुछ भी अपने मन से सोच लेते हैं कि ऐसा हुआ होगा तो ऐसा हुआ होगा. It is also not a true. It is not a knowledge. Means it is not a true knowledge. ये सत्य नहीं है. And the fourth one is nidra or sleep. सोना, शयन, जिसमें कि सुषुप्ति आत्मा की अवस्था है, वो यहाँ तक ले जाता है हमें। और द फिफ्थ वन इज स्मृति। स्मृति मीन्स मेमोरी। These are not so complex as blister, but the person should seize these for the ultimate well-being and to get rid from दुख। हमें इसको हम इन वृत्तियों को, अक्लिष्ट वृत्तियों को तब तक धारण किए रख सकते हैं जब तक कि हम यथार्थ ज्ञान तक नहीं पहुंचते हैं और जब तक कि हम क्लेश का निवारण इनके द्वारा नहीं करते हैं। लेकिन योग का जो अंतिम उद्देश्य है, जिसको हम कैवल्य कहते हैं, जिसको हम मोक्ष कहते हैं, जिसको हम मुक्ति कहते हैं, उसके लिए हमको अक्लिष्ट वृत्तियों का भी त्याग करना है। एंड that is the prior condition of well-being and happiness. So friends, here the question is that what are the reflections of behavior which is responsible for unhappiness and unhealth. Those are dukkhas, emotional imbalances, dilemmas, stress, tension, depression, personal and social imbalances, and misunderstanding, aggression and violence, etc. These are the reflections. So what to do? क्या करना चाहिए? What is योग? ऐसा हम योग क्या है और योग के द्वारा ऐसा क्या हो सकता है जो कि हमें अप्रसन्नता से बाहर निकाल करके प्रसन्नता की ओर ले जाएगा, और प्रसन्नता को ग्रहण करने के बाद हम स्वस्थ होंगे, और स्वस्थ होने के बाद हम अल्टीमेट वेल बीइंग या जिसको हम कहते हैं परम कल्याण की ओर हम अग्रसर होंगे। देयर आर 4 टर्म्स इन द डेफिनेशन ऑफ योग। दोज आर योग, चित्त, वृत्ति एंड निरोध। योग चित्त वृत्ति निरोध is the definition of योग according to Patanjali, and there are 4 terms: योग, चित्त, वृत्ति एंड निरोध। So what to do? क्या करना चाहिए? इस बात पर हम बाद में आएंगे, लेकिन उससे पहले we should know the concept of personality according to Yoga Darshan and according to Upanishadic philosophy, that what is a person? What is the reflection of personality? What are the components of personality? So there are 2 tattvas. The first one is Prakriti and the second one is Purusha. Prakriti is material, of course, जड़। जो जड़ है वह प्रकृति है, और जो चेतन है, जो कॉन्शियस है, that is पुरुष। So we are the combination of Prakriti and Purush, combination of Jad and Chetan, combination of material and consciousness. And the evolution, when it will be evoluted, then Mahat Ahankaras will be exist. Mahat यानी कि बुद्धि, और अहंकार यानी कि सत्व, रजस और तमस। Then what are the productions of Sattva? These are 5 Gyanendriyas: eyes, nose, ears, tongue and skin, and 5 Karmendriyas: hands, feet, mouth, sexual organ and anus, and 1 manas. 1 manas. Manas means it's not exactly mind. There is a big difference between mind and manas. So we will discuss later it. And the second one is Rajas, the production of Prakriti and Purusha, that is Rajas, the component for action. जो हमारे व्यक्तित्व का जितना भी क्रियाकलाप है उसको रजस जो है वह क्रियान्वित करता है। अब तीसरा जो है, the third one is Tamas. 5 tanmatras are there: रूप, रस, गंध, शब्द and स्पर्श, and 5 mahabhutas are there: agni, jal, prithvi, vayu and akash. These are the evolution of the combination of prakriti and purush. और इसमें एक और तत्व को योग दर्शन मानता है जिसको सांख्य नहीं मानता है, वह है ईश्वर। ईश्वर का व्यक्तित्व को निर्मित करने में कोई रोल यहाँ पर नहीं बताया गया है, लेकिन वहां पर ईश्वर का जो भूमिका है वह बहुत महत्वपूर्ण हो जाती है, जहां पर हम योग साधना को करते हैं। और वह कहता है, उसमें कहा गया है कि ईश्वर के प्रति अगर आपका समर्पण भाव है तो आपकी साधना आपको जल्दी फलीभूत होगी, शीघ्रता से फलीभूत होगी, ऐसा वहां पर विवेचन मिलता है। Then the role of Ishwar is very important to get the aim of Yoga Darshan or Yoga Sadhana. The second one is the concept of personality according to Upanishads. Here we should understand the theory of 5 koshas. The first kosh is Annamaya kosh, which is the psychic and structure made of carbohydrate, protein, vitamin, fat, and minerals, which are the production of various combination of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. And the second one is Pranamaya kosh, the kosh of pranic energy. And the third one is Manomaya kosh, the kosh of psychic energy. And the fourth is Vijnanmaya kosh, the kosh of intellect. And the fifth one, which is nearest to Atma, which is nearest to Purusha, is Anandamaya kosh. You know, friends, this is the center of bliss. ये जो आनंदमय कोश है, यह आनंद का स्रोत है। आनंद के लिए, कल्याण के लिए हमें इस आनंदमय कोश की ओर जाना होता है। जब तक हम सामान्य वृत्तियों में रहते हैं, हमको भोजन से सुख मिलता है, निद्रा से सुख मिलता है, मैथुन से सुख मिलता है, तब तक हम अन्नमय कोश तक ही सिमटे हुए होते हैं। लेकिन जब हम धीरे धीरे योग साधना के द्वारा अपने आप को प्रवृत्त करते हैं, जब अभी सुशील दुबे सर ने एक बात कही थी प्रत्याहार के माध्यम से, उन्होंने he discussed about the withdrawal of senses, प्रत्याहार की बात उन्होंने की। और प्रत्याहार जो है वह इन कोशों में आपको अन्नमय की ओर से आपकी प्रवृत्ति धीरे धीरे प्राणमय, प्राणमय से मनोमय, मनोमय से विज्ञानमय और विज्ञानमय से आनंदमय की ओर आपको अग्रसर करता है। एंड दैट इज द सीकिंग ऑफ आवर नॉलेज, जो पूरे दर्शन में, वांग्मय में हम जिसकी बात करते हैं कि हमें आत्मवत सर्वभूतेषु, हमें सबको आत्मा के समान, या फिर हम जो बात करते हैं कि ओम सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यम करवावहै तेजस्विनावधितमस्तु मां विद्विषावहै। दिस इज द सूत्र फॉर वेलबींग एंड हैप्पीनेस। आत्मवत सर्वभूतेषु, हमें अपने आप सभी को अपने समान देखना है। यह जो वेलबींग की, यह कल्याण की जो भावना है, वह कैसे आएगी? इन कोशों को हम कैसे आनंदमय कोश तक पहुंचेंगे और कैसे हम उस कॉन्शियसनेस, उस पुरुष को, जिसको मैं शुरू में कह रही थी कि तदा दृष्टु स्वरूपे अवस्थानम, दृष्टु जो है वह अपने दृष्टु स्वरूप में अवस्थित होता है। यही वह स्वरूप है जो आनंदमय कोश के भीतर पुरुष के रूप में विराजमान है, और वो सारी क्रियाओं का संचालक है, मालिक है, स्वामी है। पुरुष के अभाव में प्रकृति जो है वह जड़ है, निर्जीव है, वह कुछ नहीं कर सकती। वहां पर सांख्य में अंधे का और लंगड़े का भी एक उदाहरण मिलता है, उस पर मैं यहाँ पर नहीं जाऊंगी क्योंकि हमारे पास सीमित समय है और हम जो आज का मुख्य विषय है उसी पर हमें रहना चाहिए, तो उस पर हम फिर कभी बात करेंगे। लेकिन यहाँ पर कुल मिलाकर के मैं कहना यह चाहती हूँ कि वी शुड हैव अ जर्नी फ्रॉम अन्नमय टू प्राणमय, प्राणमय टू मनोमय, मनोमय टू विज्ञानमय, एंड विज्ञानमय टू आनंदमय, एंड आनंदमय टू अवर इनर कॉन्शियसनेस, अवर पुरुष जो चेतना है, चेतना को हमें समझना है। सो दिस इज द एम ऑफ लाइफ, और जितना हम आत्मा के करीब होंगे उतने ही हम प्रसन्न होंगे और उतना ही हमारा कल्याण, जिसको हम कहते हैं, वह सुनिश्चित है। So now the question is that what is the role of manas in yoga chitta vritti nirodha? I have explained the vrittis, and now this is the time to understand the role of manas. So here I want to highlight chitta or antahkaran, that is a combination of manas, buddhi and ahankar. And we should opt the way of yoga for chitta vritti nirodha. Yog is the result of practice of yoga abhyas, yogic practices, and it will lead towards the path of physical, mental and spiritual health, which is the only way for happiness and well-being. जब तक हम स्वस्थ नहीं रहेंगे, जब तक हम प्रसन्न नहीं रहेंगे, तब तक हम कल्याण की बात कर ही नहीं सकते हैं। और योग हमें शारीरिक, मानसिक और आध्यात्मिक स्वस्थता की ओर ले जाता है, और यह जो है यह प्राथमिक अनिवार्यता है प्रसन्नता की भी और कल्याण की भी। Now the question is that what is the scientific view of happiness? प्रसन्नता का जो वैज्ञानिक परिप्रेक्ष्य है वह क्या है? There are 4 hormones for happiness and mental health in our personality. The first one is endorphin, resulted from the higher level of physical exercise, which is also we do in asanas. And when we do the exercise in the healthy manner, it promotes the level of endorphin naturally. The second one is dopamine, resulted from the nature of creativity and positivity. When we get appreciated due to our work, dress or other things, and it increases the level of dopamine. The third one is serotonin, resulted from the repetition of our favorite works or others creativities also. And the fourth one is oxytocin, resulted from loving touch, hug and feeling promotes the level of happiness. These are the 4 hormones, and this is the scientific view of happiness. So friends, what to do? क्या करना चाहिए हमें? There are so many reflections in our life, in our individual behavior, who reflects unhappiness. Those are hinsa, asatya, steya, काम, परिग्रह, अशौच, असंतोष, अनस्टेबिलिटी, अविद्या, इनसिक्योरिटी। हिंसा हम करते हैं, असत्य हम बोलते हैं, चोरी हम करते हैं, हमारे अंदर काम वासना भी है, हम अनावश्यक रूप से संपदा को जमा भी करते हैं, हम अशुद्ध रहते हैं वैचारिक रूप से भी और शारीरिक रूप से भी, हमारे अंदर असंतोष है, हमारे अंदर अनस्टेबिलिटी है, अस्थिर हैं, हम स्थिर नहीं है। उसके साथ ही साथ अविद्या, जिसकी मैंने पहले चर्चा की, और असुरक्षा की भावना, जिसको मैंने मृत्यु भय कहा था अपने इस टॉक के शुरू में। तो इस प्रकार के जो रिफ्लेक्शंस हैं वो अप्रसन्नता और जो हमारा, जिसको मैं कहूंगी अवनयन, हम अवनयन यानी कि हमारा जो अवनयन यानी अन्नमय कोश की तरफ हमारा ध्यान जब ज्यादा होता है, तब हम इन सारे रिफ्लेक्शंस को देते हैं। अब देखिए करना क्या है हमें। What are the Hut and Raj yogic practices for well-being and happiness? There are 8-fold path of Raj Yoga according Mahasi Patanjali, and the steps for that are Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. And the second one is Hut Yoga, and this is a combination of Shatkarm, Asan, Pranayam, Mudra, Bandh, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. And there are 6 purification practices are there in Satkarmas: Dhoti, Vasti, Neti, Noli, Tratak and Kapalbhati. So friends, what to do? हमें क्या करना चाहिए? First step of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that is Yam, and the second one is Niyam for well-being and happiness. The first one is Yam is Ahimsa, the second is Satya, third is Asteya, the fourth is Brahmacharya and fifth is Aparigraha. अहिंसा कृत कारित अनुमोदित किन्हीं प्रकारों से जो हम दूसरे प्राणियों को पीड़ा पहुंचाते हैं, दैट इज हिंसा, वो हिंसा है और ये हमें नहीं करना है, ये अहिंसा है। तो उसके बाद जो दूसरा है वह है सत्य, जो तथ्य जैसा है उसको ठीक वैसा ही प्रस्तुत करना, दिस इज सत्य। एंड अस्तेय इज किसी की वस्तु को बिना पूछे ना लेना, ये अस्तेय है। और ब्रह्मचर्य, ब्रह्म यानी कि जिसकी वृद्धि होती है, और चर्य यानी कि आचरण, ब्रह्म के समान आचरण करना, यानी जिसमें कोई काम वासना ना हो, उसको हम कहते हैं ब्रह्मचर्य का आचरण। एंड द अदर वन इज अपरिग्रह, अनावश्यक वस्तुओं का संग्रह ना करना. फिर एक है शौच, जिसमें जो नियम के अंतर्गत आता है उसमें है शौच, संतोष, तप, स्वाध्याय एंड ईश्वर प्रणिधान. शौच मानसिक और शारीरिक रूप से पूरी तरह से हमको शुद्धि रखनी है. शरीर, जो कि त्रिगुणों की बात मैंने की थी, त्रिगुणों में संतुलन तभी होगा जब हम शुद्धि को अपनाएंगे. और शुद्धि, शारीरिक शुद्धि के लिए षटकर्म का विधान जो है वह हठ योग में किया गया है. और हठ योग और राजयोग एक दूसरे के साथ अन्योन्याश्रित संबंध रखते हैं. I mean to say that there is no existence of Raj Yoga without practicing Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga, Hatha Yoga is the base of Raj Yoga. So we should opt the purification practices Dhoti, Vasti, Neti, Noli, Tratak and Kapalbhati for physical and mental purification. Of course, there is no description in Patanjali Yoga Sutra for Shauch. So we should opt the way of Hatha Yoga, way of Shatkarm for this Shauch. The second one is Santosh, जो हमारे पास है पूरा परिश्रम करके जो हम अर्जित कर सकते हैं उसमें संतुष्ट रहना. दिस इज संतोष. तप की परिभाषा कई लोग बहुत गलत ढंग से लेते हैं. कहा जाता है कि जैसा कि हम पुराना जो हमारा साहित्य है, योग साहित्य हो या हमारा पुराण हो या वेद हो, उनमें हम ये संदर्भ लेते थे कि हजारों वर्ष की तपस्या उन्होंने वन में. ओके सर. So the role of yoga for happiness and well-being, we should understand that, and this is I want to say that well-being through the practice of pratyahar, that is withdrawal of senses, determination and contemplation, the balance and harmony of trigunas, mental peace, the regulation of thought process, detachment, and to get rid of tridukha as the ultimate aim of human life. It should be the practice for a human being, and this is very important to practice chitta prasadan, that is maitri, karuna, mudita and upeksha, having love for sukhi and having kindness for dukhi, having happiness for punya, enlightened person, and and to ignore apunya, morally unknowing person. This is the crux of our behavior for well-being and happiness, and naturally the yoga will lead toward these aims of life. So friends, all the best to you, and you listened me very well. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And we are human, we are not perfect, we are alive. We try things and we make mistakes, we stumble, we fall, we get hurt, we rise again, we try again, we keep learning, we keep growing, and we are thankful for the priceless opportunity called life. So be happy, be well. Thank you so much. Vande Mataram. भारत माता की जय. हम योग का अनुसरण करें, योग की शरण में जाएं. इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देती हूँ. प्रोफेसर दास, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आपने इस टॉक के लिए मुझे आमंत्रित किया, और आपकी पूरी आयोजन समिति को अपने हृदय तल की गहराइयों से धन्यवाद कहती हूँ. अब सेशन आपको सौंपती हूँ.
Thank you, madam. It was very wonderful.
Hello, sir.
Yes, anybody?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, audible, sir.
Sir, can I ask my clarifications?
Yes, sir. After 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Very much audible, sir.
After
Okay,
2
sir.
minutes.
Okay, sir. Please ask.
Yes, sir. You are audible. Please ask your question.
Yes. Thank you very much for your nice presentation, madam. It's really, excellent, I would say. But unfortunately, my idea of yoga differs from what you have explained all this time, because you have spoken about the disciplines of the mind, the disciplines of vairagya, and Siddhavriddhi Nirodha as per Patanjali. You compared everything. But in my opinion, what Vasishtha Maharishi has told Lord Sri Rama is, Iti Sri Vasishtha Maharamayane Valmikiye Mokshobhaye. And in Bhagavad Gita it is said as Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Sastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. In the 6th chapter and the 14th chapter, Lord Krishna has analyzed about yoga, the Atma Sannyasa Yoga and the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga and Sraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. And as far as the Panchakoshas is concerned, you are giving a different meaning for that of what I have learned from Sri Vidyaranyeshwara Shankaracharya Swami, who has written Panchamaya Kosha in 5 chapters called Panchadasi, wherein he has compared the existence of Atma. But what I understand that you are telling all these things only for the perfection of the human mind and for betterment of livelihood, which is not the exact, goal of Patanjali Maharishi, where he says, he was explaining all those things, Chittavriddhi Nirodha, Abhyasa Vairagyapyam Tan Nirodha, and all Idhyadis. It is only for defining spiritual liberation. It is not mentioned here. You are speaking only from the Vyavaharika Satya, the empirical reality, but not the Paramarthika Satya or the absolute reality. So yoga is intended only for moksha, moksham. It's intended only for getting liberation, freedom. Because it is only another wing of Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga, Kapila Muni has described it as...
Dr. Srinivasan,
please explain me. Please explain me.
Your question is understood, sir. Your question is understood.
I have just clarified all my points.
Your question is understood, sir. We shall try to discuss it. Your question is
because we have limited time, so I left those points. But you are absolutely right. We should pick up those points also. I'm very thankful to you to enlighten us, sir. Thank you so much. And if you want to ask something to me, then I'll reply to you. But this aspect we will discuss later in another session. So if there is any question, then you can ask me.
Yes,
okay, thank you. This is the question I want to ask.
Dr. Srinivasan, sir, you are understood. You are understood. Your question is well presented and it is understood.
Okay.
We are now answering you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
You are speaking of the mukhya, the ultimate goal of life, that is Parama Purusartha. There are 4 Purusarthas and mukhya is Parama Purusartha. But Parama Purusartha is attained through other 3 Purusarthas, Dharma, Kama and Artha. We cannot neglect this empirical world because man is through this empirical world. Man is through his mind. Your first friend is your mind. Your soul is your native identity, but you can't reach there without the discipline of mind, because you shall realize yourself only through the mind. So ignorance is the possibility of mind. Knowledge is also the possibility of mind. Mind binds and mind liberates. So you can't escape mind. You can't run away chittavrittis. You can't run away from this empirical world. You can't run away any limitations, senses, your mind, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. You can't avoid anything. You can't avoid your family. You can't avoid social responsibilities. You have to live through this empirical world. You have to live through your mind. So the ultimate Purusartha, Parama Purusartha is Moksha. That is understood. But how can we attain this? We have to follow certain principles, certain disciplines. And many seers, philosophers, they have shown, they have they have given so many spiritual instructions to do this and not to do this. Okay, so
Hello.
man is through his mind.
Hello, Pramod Babu. Shall I add to this? Now the thing is, what Professor is asking probably that whether yoga can be the discussion of happiness and well-being is strictly confined to the Vyavaharika Satta of ours, or it can be extended to the Paramarthika level. That is what probably he is asking.
No, he is not asking that. He is asking that Dr. Ranjit Ghosh sir, the Dr. Srinivasan ji is asking that yoga is a study of attaining the ultimate goal of life, that is moksha. Yoga has nothing to do with this empirical world. Yoga is not a study of disciplining our mind. I don't agree with this point, because the ultimate goal will be achieved, will be attained through different platforms. We cannot get the ultimate goal directly overnight. Therefore,
Yes,
yoga is
of course.
Yoga is the process and yoga is the goal. So therefore I was briefing the both of the talks, so that such confusion should not be there. What Professor Dubey said and Dr. Bhatt said, actually we are focusing about yoga, and we think that yoga means the unification of the individual self and the supreme self, Jivatma and Paramatma. This is one meaning of yoga. The other meaning is we should have a sense of discrimination. Patanjali Yoga or the Sankhya Yoga is giving emphasis upon that we should have discriminative knowledge. So not only the unification, but also we should be qualified. We should have that sense of discrimination, that I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Okay, so I am not Prakriti, I am Purusa. This discriminative sense is there. So yoga and Vijoga go hand in hand. For example, when we say removal of darkness and arrival of light, there is no gap. Removal, the moment the darkness is removed, light arrives. Okay, so whenever we reach a higher point, we have to leave the lower point. Otherwise, we can't attain. Dr. Bhatt spoke of different postures, different layers of consciousness. So when we reach the higher level, we have to leave. We have to be detached from the lower state. So yoga and Vijoga is also yoga. That is the distinctive sense. That is pratyahara. Pratyahara not only means the withdrawal of the senses. Withdrawal of senses are possible if our mind is controlled. We don't need to control our sense organs. If our mind is controlled, then automatically sense organs are controlled. In Patanjali Yoga, pratyahara comes in the fifth limb. But before that, there are 4 steps: Jama, Niyama, Asana. Jama, Niyama, Asana. In Jama also there is pratyahara. When Madam said Hinsa, Hinsa means abstention of Hinsa. The opposite is Ahimsa. You see, to attain Ahimsa, we should have pratyahara from Hinsa. So abstention from violence is non-violence. So you see, in every state there is Vijoga and Yoga. Asteya, the very word Asteya means pratyahara. That is non-stealing. That one should not steal, one should not covet. So non-stealing, that is Asteya. Similarly, Brahmacharya means the abstention from the lust and passions. That is Brahmacharya. In every Satya means abstention from falsehood, pratyahara from falsehood. So pratyahara is a mindset. And if one is not mentally ready to be detached from something, he cannot be attached with the higher. This is the point. Yoga means we have to be attached with the higher, being detached from the lower. So detachment is necessary for attachment. So this is also said in the scripture. What Dr. Srinivasan was asking, he is asking that yoga is only meant for salvation, moksha, but that is possible. That is possible through the discipline of the mind. Yes, now I shall ask some questions to Professor Susim Dubey. The question is, does isolation of any kind favor withdrawal of the senses? This was the question to Professor Dubey. Does isolation of any kind favor withdrawal of the senses?
Shall I speak?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Before speaking, may I request for muting the mics because it is causing too much sound noise. Please mute all your mics, and while you are speaking, please unmute. Thank you. Well, the isolation is something like that. Again, I would like to refer the example of laser. So when to be focused on some certain path or a process, we have to be in a way isolated from its vikirana or its unnecessary going away from its destination. This is a simple statement. Let us see in the process of yoga sadhana. So it has been India Yuva, please mute. Yes, thank you. Let us see the yoga sadhana very quickly. It has been in the Nyaya Sutra, in the Vedanta, in Hatyopadipika also, a kind of solitary place where one can sit properly and then compose and then furtherance for the yoga sadhana, particularly in ancient or traditional way of doing it. And if you see the Jain or Buddhist traditions and the caves, the Udayagiri caves in itself in Bhubaneswar and so many other places, those were the places were for the yoga sadhana. Apart from that, let us see our study place in our rooms, where how it should be. It should be in a way where we should not get detracted and disturbance should not be there. So isolation is what is the facilitating for our pratyaha process or furtherance of our aim and objectives. So in that way, isolation is required. Similarly, the isolation we see in the horse, जो एक घोड़े का तांगा होता है, there is a chashma in front of the eyes of the horse where it should see and it should not get diverted, otherwise it is the possibility of horse carriage is not there. So in that way isolation is required, and there could be so many examples, and it automatically comes to us where we should concentrate and what we should isolate. Similarly for the food also, from varieties of things, what should we take and what should we should isolate in order to make our attentions, our focus and our yoga sadhana particularly proper. So isolation can be large in various ways, and it can be understood properly to facilitate the yoga sadhana. Dr. Das.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. In this corona pandemic crisis, we are also living in isolation.
Yes.
But in the state of isolation, we are very much attached with our family.
Yes.
So the attachment doubles here. So that is not isolation. In yoga system, that is not isolation. Isolation means there is the absence of a vastu and also the absence of a visaya. Suppose the vastu is absent, but its visaya, its subject, its imagination is still there in my mind. I have returned from sea beach, but in my house also there is the image of sea beach in my mind. Isolation means to be mentally detached from the desired objects. Anything that disturbs us to reach the goal, that should be isolated mentally, physically, mentally. Thank you. The next question is, what are the effects of frustration when the indriyas are controlled? What are the effects of frustration when the indriyas are controlled? This is the question to Professor Dubey.
Well, I think it is a kind of contradictory something, and apparently it is seeming when Indriyas are controlled, then shall or should there be frustration? Because if there is initially frustration and finally it is the frustration, then how the Indriyas are controlled and why should they be controlled? Because frustration needs to be first resolved. And resolving or resolution of frustration is only also or finally is the a kind of process and resultant of pratyahara. So indriyas should be controlled, and like various horse going in various directions or in our a kind of pattern. Suppose there are so many people are there in a kind of a ring, and as a kind of circle. जैसे रस्सी का बना हुआ एक सर्किल है, and everybody is going in their own direction, so nobody is going in any direction. So the controlling and frustration, if everybody is frustrated, then nobody is able to go to any direction in that ring. So resolution and control, I think, has to be properly understood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, sir. I understand your point, but the point is that supposing I like some beautiful, jalebi or a halwa or something like that, I'm not able to resist it. I eat it and then I suddenly stop it. Does it mean that pratyahara will emulate my mind? Certainly not, because it will lead to frustration.
Okay, sir. That may be, but that is the initial stage of pratyahara. You have to do tapas. Tapas means you have to bear that difficulty. Sometimes we do that. We don't tolerate the departure from our children when they are going abroad, but we have to tolerate that. So pratyahara is not so easy. I told that pratyahara of vastu is one thing, pratyahara of visaya is another thing, and total pratyahara is still another thing. So in the initial stage, there will be frustration. It is natural, but we have to bear out that. If we shall cross the waves, we can reach the deep ocean. That is the aim of yoga. You can be united when you will be detached from this empirical world. By hook or crook, it may happen overnight. It may take hundreds of years, and 100 lives also. That depends upon the gravity of your attachment. How far you are attached to this false world, false jalapi, false relationship.
One word. Let me summarize the whole entire thing. There is a sabij and nirbij. So here in the sabij samadhi, let me not use the word samadhi, but the sabij condition. When the bij is there, it will keep on germinating and fructifying and sprouting. And nirbij, when there is a no bij, and thereafter it has been in the Yoga Sutra, dharma med samadhi and ritambhara tatra pragya. Ritambhara means continuity. Rit means atal, satya, sat, existing, the same way, same nature, same kind of continuity. That is what it is, the state of samadhi. So sabij and nirbij, two things have been discussed in Patanjali Yoga Sutra also. So nirbij is the without any seeds, and when there are no sanskar, otherwise there are the sanskar, they will keep on fructifying and generating a kind of perception, and there shall be the method of pratyahara again for the coming over to the dharana, dhyana and samadhi. So this is how it is.
Will you please elaborate the withdrawal pratyahara of prana? withdrawal of Indriya is all right, but what will mean by the withdrawal of Pratyahara of Prana?
No, prana I did not say. I said withdrawal means again utilizing the methodology of pratyahara means pratyahara again coming to the process of dharana and dhyan and samadhi through the mode of pratyahara. This is what I said. There is no withdrawal of prana. Actually, this is the prana sangrodha, that is the restoration of kumbhaka, which is itself the state of where unflickering state of chitta. And this is what is the state of samadhi finally. So that is something to be actualized by the higher states of yogi, or who has the most control of their body and mind and whole mechanism of that.
No, shall I ask this? In Yoga Nidra, you see, in Yoga Nidra, all these four pratyaharas are to be maintained. Indriya, prana, karma, and mana. So that the Indriya, karma, and mana, there is no problem. So that's why I raised this question about the prana. Okay, it's all right. It's understood.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey, about your explanation of Pratyahara is something really scintillating. The point is that you have two stanzas, one for the materialistic world and the other one is for the spiritual world. That's what I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And finally, in a 1 minute, Dr. K. Om Narayan Rao has posted, the modern man needs Pratyahara in thought, speech, and action. But this is not happening. Even though there is much theory in Yoga Sutra, and we do very well understand it, yet the practice has become very difficult. How do you see this issue? This is actually the whole thing. If we can put with one example, from the seed, it's sprouting, then it is raising, then becoming the plant, from the tree, then fruits again to the flowers to fruit, and fruits again to the seed. And then the process keeps on going. So every sanskar is keep on doing like that, and we are in the same process. So each and everything has to be fructified. Like Dr. Das also said, the process of pratyahara is to detach from the lower rungs of the ladder and come into the higher rung of the ladder through the process of attachment. So this is also what is the simile or upama of the jnana. Jnana is also a kind of ladder. As much as we go higher and we see the wider perception, our becomes like that. And therefore we get withdrawal from the lower our perceptions or lower our attachment position to the higher attached or detached, whatever we can say. We shall be detached when we are within our own self. We are self-sufficient, self-suffice, or the state of moksha, that is the sata, chita, and ananda, that is the state of consciousness, and no further object outer from the consciousness is desired, because everything is realized. That is what is the Sankhya also, like the nature of the entire Prakriti has been seen, the dance of the Prakriti is seen, and Purush is self-contained within itself. So this is the whole theory of Sankhya, and a larger perhaps answer shall be required for that. So I think we are end of this program. There will be the hormones, there will be the several psycho-analytic reasons furtherance to this. So many things have been discussed in Bhagavad Gita. I think we can take up in furtherance of our discussions, and particular some problems, because it comes in the psychological counseling as well as we are aiming. Of course, I am inviting attention of all philosophical counseling. So let it be possible philosophical counseling, so that we can be more practically attached to our students and also serve to the society with philosophy, because a discrete process of thinking, let us be more practical, because when everything is maturing and it's subservient to the society, so philosophy, which is the mother of all subjects, can be further extended to all its children. So let us, from this point to the philosophical counseling, I think we should proceed in focusing in our departments, in our portfolio of syllabi. So thank you.
Mr. Dubey, sir, can I intercept you for a minute, please? Can I ask you one question before you wind up? Hello?
Yes, sir. Please ask.
Sir,
Briefly.
the International School of Jain Studies, they are organizing a webinar on 10th, 11th and 12th regarding social harmony through pratyahara. Kindly explain what does it mean, please.
Well, which is going to come in future from 10th, 11th and 12th. Why should it be answered now? Because 10 days happening, how can we answer in a last moment 1 minute? So I think better to go in that program and understand. Finally, social harmony, it's a very large something. And pratyahara, everybody should know and learn the technique to. Dr. Pramod Das has very elaborately has given a nice terms and elaboration and explanation of all this. So, and Dr. Srinivasan ji, I think you are very interested, and we may take up an entire session or other occasions to discuss all these things. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Dr. Kavita Bhatt, madam.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
There is
Sir.
a question. There is a question for you.
Yes.
Is there any difference between manas and mind?
Yes. There is a difference between mind and manas, because mind is a Western concept and manas is Indian concept. Manas is a part of Antahkaran. Manas is a component. Please mute your mic, please. Nidhi ji, please mute your mic. Manas is a component of Antahkaran. There is a combination of manas, buddhi and ahankar. All these together make Antahkaran. And there are also Bahyakaran. Antahkaran is responsible to regulate the personality of a person. And Manas is the master of Indriyas. Manas is the master of Gyanendriyas and Karmendriyas. So this is Ubhayendriya. Manas is Ubhayendriya. But in Western perspective, mind is a bundle of senses, not senses, bundle of experiences, bundle of sensations. If am I right? So please support me. And I think there is a very big difference between these both, because manas is purely the Indian concept and manas is the component of Antahakaran. This is the master to regulate the senses. This is responsible for pratyahar and yogic practices, other yogic practices too. Manas is the component to I think we should opt the terminology fluency of ideas, fluency of chetana, fluency of, this is the central point of chitta. This is the central point of chitta. And as I already told, that this is responsible to regulate the senses, I mean Gyanendriya and Karmendriya both. So this is the central point of personality to get the benefits of yoga abhyas. and this is responsible to lead a person towards samadhi and then kaivalya. So this is the particular segment who deals towards the ultimate aim of life. यानी कि चेतना का एक अंश है ये, जो कि हमारे पूरे व्यक्तित्व को नियंत्रित करता है, अनुशासित करता है, और मन के द्वारा ही हम प्रत्याहार और अन्य जो योगिक जितनी भी हमारी साधना है उसको करते हुए, क्योंकि पूरा जो इसके ऊपर नियंत्रण रहेगा वह मन का रहेगा। मन के द्वारा हम प्रत्याहार भी कर सकते हैं। जब तक हम मन को नियंत्रित नहीं करते हैं, हम इंद्रिय निरोध की बात कर ही नहीं सकते हैं। इंद्रिय निरोध की बात हम तभी कर सकते हैं, ज्ञानेंद्रिय भी उसमें आती है, कर्म इंद्रिय भी उसमें आती है, और ये उभयेंद्रिय है। जबकि वेस्टर्न पर्सपेक्टिव में माइंड, देयर इज नो डिस्कशन अबाउट दीज थिंग्स इन वेस्टर्न पर्सपेक्टिव। सो दिस इज द डिफरेंस, सर। Professor Das, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Is there any other confusion?
No, madam. Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
Mind,
Thank you.
Mind is a English term.
Thank you, sir.
And there is no substitute of that term in Western culture. But in Indian culture, there are so many components that mind is just a layer of consciousness. There are different layers of consciousness, and mind is only very minimal layer of consciousness.
Only physical. That is only
physical. That is a very lower.
That is a bundle of experiences, as according David Hume told.
Beyond mind, there is supramental consciousness. There are many states of consciousness beyond mind. Therefore,
Yes.
there is a beautiful distinction between mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. All these things are there. But in Western country, they have only one concept, that is mind. They think that mind is only brain, nothing
Yes,
other
yes.
than brain. But in Indian
that
culture,
is a-
mind is not brain.
Mind is not brain. That is a center. That is a center of I think those जो क्या होती हैं, संवेदनाएं होती हैं, संवेदनाएं,
Mind is feeling.
संवेदनाएं उनको ग्रहण करके वो जो सेंटर है ब्रेन में वहां तक ले जाता है। दिस इज द रोल
Yes,
ऑफ
yes.
माइंड इन वेस्टर्न कल्चर।
Beyond mind, there is intellect.
Yes.
Which discriminates, which has viveka jnana, which discriminates from good, bad, right, wrong. That is the function of intellect. So there is a difference between mind and intellect. They again chitta. So this difference is there in Indian culture, but in Western
Yes.
culture they have only one word, that is mind.
And there is one more example about it in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that Indriyas are the horses and manas is वो सारथी है, सारथी, और वो सारी इंद्रियों को नियंत्रित करता है। This is also a quotation of Gita.
And also, madam, in the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo,
Yes.
there are descriptions of different types of minds. For example, over mind, higher mind, illumined mind,
Five levels.
intuitive mind, super mind.
Yes,
There are
yes.
so many types.
Five
of
levels. Five
And
levels are
every mind belongs to a layer of consciousness. Your
Yes.
mind describes what you are. Your mind describes your world. Your mind connotes your character. Your mind is you. You are your mind.
This is the pratinidhi of consciousness in our personality.
Yes. That is the
This is the
representative
pratinidhi of
Yes.
consciousness
Yes.
or Purusha.
Yes, madam. Now, Professor Ghosh will speak something.
Yes. I have one clarification from Dr. Bhatt when she is referring about this thing, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. So, first three, I think Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Vijnanamaya, in those things, actually, these concepts of happiness and well-being can be explained, and we can make it as the concepts of discourse. But at the level of Anandamaya, everything is happiness, everything is at that level, this discussion of happiness and well-being will not be pertinent to for discussion. What do you do? How do you react to this?
Yes, sir. Of course, you are absolutely right, and we can't get happiness without the expression of that Anandamaya Kosh, because the Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Manomaya is only dedicated for the sensual pleasures, and sensual pleasure is not happiness. Sensual pleasure is time bound, but happiness is not time bound. Happiness is ultimate. Happiness is a long-term process, but there is only sensual pleasure with Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Manomaya. After the guidance of that intellect or that Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya. The guidance of Vijnanamaya, we can get the happiness, and happiness is the ultimate. Happiness, after happiness, we can get the well-being. But happiness is not that sensual pleasure. We can get the sensual pleasure with Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Manomaya. So happiness is higher one, and it is near to Anandamaya. I think, is it clear?
But I think, sorry. Hello. I think well-being is wider in concept than happiness, because you see,
Yes. Of course. Well-being is
the action.
Yes. Well-being is wider than happiness, and well-being is the ultimate aim of life.
Ultimate aim.
As
Right.
Kaivalya, Apavarg, there are 3 steps of Kaivalya also. That is Apavarg, Mukti, and Kaivalya. Kaivalya is the highest one, and Mukti and Apavarg is the lower one. So we can get the aim of life as Kaivalya after getting the Mukti and Apavarg. And there are 3 terminology in Sankhya Darshan for it. That is Apavarg. The first one is Apavarg, the second one is Mukti, and the third one is Kaivalya. Kaivalya means to identify the consciousness. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. जो मैंने which I told earlier at my talk. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. It means that we can identify our real swarup. We can identify our real swarup after practicing yoga. And Kaivalya is the ultimate. That is the well-being. But happiness is the way to get that. Happiness is the path for that. So happiness will pave the path of well-being. But happiness is possible when we only possible when we get health. So health is prior, and happiness is second one, and third one is well-being. Well-being is ultimate, and well-being is a combination of personal well-being and social well-being. That's why I told about this Lok Sangrah, the concept of Lok Sangrah, which described in Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So well-being is not only that happiness, but this is the combination of happiness, personal happiness and social happiness. This is the well-being, जिसको हम कहते हैं कि जब हम खुश रहेंगे, स्वस्थ रहेंगे, तभी हम समाज के लिए कुछ अच्छा कर पाएंगे. लोक संग्रह उसको कहा गया है गीता में.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, madam. We shall come.
I have Dr. Kavita Bhatt, I have a clarification, please. May I ask you?
Of course, sir. Why not?
Okay. See, there is a sloka, Baro Vivekinaga Sastram, Baro Jnanamsya Raginaga, Asantasya Mano Baro, Baro Tattvadam Babu. That means Asantasya Mano Baro. What is the difference between a person with quiet mind and a person with unquiet mind. How do you clarify that, please?
Okay, sir. I have already told you that the reflection of an unhappy and unhealthy personality are hinsa, asatya, that is instability, stealing, asantosh, ashoch. All these are the reflection of unhealthy and unhappy personality, which is also a reflection of that which you told me. So this is clear, I think. And sir, this is the time for I think 8:52 we have. So this is a long time, sir. So organizers are also waiting to close the session. So we will discuss again in the next sessions. And I'm very happy that you joined this session. Thank you so much. And we will clarify it later, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So we shall conclude here. And I shall say only 2 or 3 sentences that the Atma Sakshatkara, to meet our own self, is the ultimate goal of life, and that is the highest knowledge. If there is any knowledge, be it science, philosophy, religion, literature, anything, through that we cannot have self-realization. Okay. So self-realization is the highest knowledge, and that is Atma Sakshatkara, and that is the purpose, that is the goal of a yoga. But to attain that state, to have that self-realization, to meet our own self, we have to go through different disciplines. We have to discipline our senses. We have to discipline our minds. We have to be out of chitta-vrittis, ahankara, etc. Even the allurements of this physical world, we should have a sense of going beyond. And every state of our being is the state of ignorance. We claim that we are qualified in this way, that way, but the more we are qualified, the more we land in a level of consciousness that is nothing but a state of ignorance, because there is a next possibility of knowledge. There is a next possibility of consciousness. So our knowledge is just like an island covered by a vast ocean of ignorance. So the knowledge that we are ignorant is the highest knowledge. So pratyahara is the best way to remain detached from this empirical world, to remain detached from anything that obstructs us attaining our goal, being united with the Supreme Self. So that is the process. Yoga is the process. And we as human beings, first of all, should focus on the process. That will lead to the goal of life, the yoga of life, that is well-being and happiness. Happiness is a mental state which comes after all types of psychophysical disciplines. The moment so far we are not disciplined, so far we are not discharged from this empirical world, from our own senses, from our own chitta-vrittis, we cannot be happy. And the moment we are not happy, we cannot do lokasangraha. We cannot dedicate ourselves for the society. We cannot have social harmony. We can't have harmony within. Individual harmony will not be there. Social harmony is a very big thing. First of all, we have to cultivate individual harmony. We are not harmonious. I am not harmonious with my body, with my mind, with myself. How can I think of social harmony? So the more we become subtler, the more we become parvasi. So that is the goal of life. Become subtler. And the more we become subtler, the more we become parvasi. The more we become qualified for doing lokasangraha, for niskama karma, for being happy. Thank you. With this, this session is concluded. I request Mrs. Sulagna Samantray, faculty member of the Department of Philosophy, Nayagar, King's College, Nayagar, to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Over to Sulagna Samantray, madam.
Namaskar to all. May I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible.
Namaskar to all. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks to the dignitaries and distinguished guests of this program. On behalf of Department of Philosophy, we extend our hearty vote of thanks to Professor Susim Dubey sir for delivering a beautiful presentation on the topic, the practice of Pratyahara in Yoga Sadhana. We are very grateful to you, sir. We extend our deep sense of gratitude to Dr. Kavita Bhatt ma'am for her excellent deliberation on the topic Yoga for well-being and happiness. We must mention our deep sense of appreciation. We wholeheartedly express our thanks to our principal, Professor Suresh Kumar Pradhan sir, Head of Department, Mr. Pramod Kumar Das sir, my colleague Sasmita Mudali madam, and all the participants for your being presence with us and make it a grand success. Thank you all. Thank you.
I thank Professor Susim Dubey sir and Dr. Kavita Bhatt madam. We are all grateful to you for your nice deliberation, discussion, your benign presence with us, and we shall remain grateful to you for your invaluable knowledge. Because knowledge cannot be valued by your empirical ways. So we are really grateful. Thank you. Now this meeting is closed. Thank you, everyone.
So your voice is not audible, sir.
Am I audible?
Yeah, sir. You are not audible.
Audible, sir, audible.
Yeah. Now it is audible, sir.
Okay, I just said that the faculty members, principal of Nayagar Autonomous College, all are grateful to our resource persons, Professor Susim Dubey sir and Dr. Kavita Bhatt madam, for their benign presence in our national webinar program, and for their invaluable wisdom and for their blessings, for everything, for their support, for their inspiration. We are really grateful and we shall remain grateful, because knowledge does not end overnight. Knowledge is a continuous process, and we are organizing regular webinars on every Sunday on the banner of Philosophy Family. You are all invited to attend webinars. Thank you all, and we are also grateful to all the participants who are present here and who participated in the discussion. Thank you all. Thank you. This is really Jnana Yajna. And Jnana Yajna is also a process of yoga. By Jnana Yajna, we are having a very beautiful get together because we are blessed. And we are having Jnana Yajna to reach that goal. And it is not possible overnight. This should be a continuous process. Thank you. Now this meeting is closed.
Sir, we are not getting feedback, sir. Link.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we are not getting feedback link till now, sir.
No feedback link is necessary. If you have registered yourself in the and if you are in the WhatsApp group, you will get certificate.
Oh, will you please send WhatsApp group link, sir? Because we have not received even registration link also.
Then we have another session on Sunday at 5:30 p.m. So you may register. Because
sir, may I leave the meeting? Sir?
Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
On Sunday, what time, sir?
for getting certificate, one needs to register himself first.
Sunday, what time, sir?
Sunday 5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m.
That will
Okay, sir. If there is any chance, you please send the registration link.
you note my mobile number, WhatsApp mobile number, and you give me message. So
Sir, just a minute, sir. I will note down, sir.
9090. Everybody.
I will note down, sir.
9090.
Pen. Sir,
9090
9090
817
817
629.
629.
This is my
Your
WhatsApp
name is Swarnalata Tripathi, sir.
No, Pramod Kumar Das. I am speaking.
Pramod Kumar.
Pramod Kumar Das. Pramod Kumar Das.
Pramod Kumar. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I will send a message to you, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. It's a very nice session, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This meeting is closed now.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Send me number, sir. Mobile number.
Excuse me, sir.
Madam, number.
Excuse me.
Send me number, madam. Mobile number.
81.
090. Madam.
Hello.